Well, I finished stiffening up this bench grinder stand, although it's used for this roller. There's no more wobbling in it. I took all the play out of it. Let's look and see what I did. First, I measured with a digital caliper, and I found that the diameter varied from this tubing, and so did this base diameter varied. On average, it appeared to me that I'd need a collar. When I looked at the difference in diameters and divided it by 2, then I figured the wedge should be about 50 thousandths thick. But again, that wasn't exact because of the constant varying. What I did do is I got a piece of 36 thousandth inch brass. That's this 36. Okay, I can't see the piece. Yeah, this piece. It came 1 inch wide. I got it at Ace Hardware, about a foot long, and I don't have a roller. So I formed it around this, the stand, and then I put it inside the stand to compress it a bit and get it as round as I could. And then I used these radiator clamps to help keep it nice and round, and I attached it to the pole. I attached it to the pole, so the clamp went over half the thickness of, or half the width of this shim, and it kept it round. And then I was able to get it inside the base, and that was a job. I was getting a screwdriver, hitting with a screwdriver. Eventually, I used this. I tightened up this clamp, and I was hitting it over here at different spots, tightening it, hitting it, loosening it, moving it, tightening it, hitting it, until I worked it down. Now, I didn't get it all the way down. There's maybe 3/16 of an inch or so, but most of it went in. At least 3/4 of an inch went in, and that took out the wobbling. The next step was to drill through here. Now, these bolts are 3/8 with 16 threads per inch, I think. Let me see how many threads per inch. 16 threads per inch. I can tell by the package for the nuts that went in. But I used a 5/16 inch drill that went through the brass collar, and then that went through the steel tubing stand. And of course, I'm sure it might have damaged some of the threads that this went into, so I tapped it with a 3/8 16 thread per inch tap. So it matched this, it matched the original threads. Anyway, I tapped it. Now, the first tap, I made a mistake. I didn't put any oil in, and I was lucky I didn't break the tap inside that. But I lucked out, and then I put a nut behind it underneath here. I guess I can show you that. Oh, if you can see, there's going to be 3 nuts. Now, you can see one of them. But, so I tightened that up just to play safe. And the rest of them I put oil on when I tapped it, and the tapping went much easier. So that made this base nice and sturdy. There's no wobbling at the bottom. The top was a different story. I was going to use 36-inch brass, but I ran out, and all I had was some 16 gauge steel. And the 16 gauge steel is about 50 thousandths roughly. At least this was what I mic'd it to. I thought it would be too big. But anyway, I formed it. I got as round as I could. Again, I used these hose clamps to try to make it nice and round so it would fit in. And it was a bit of a job getting it in. I basically had two clamps, and then I was hitting it with a screwdriver and a hammer, forcing it in. Like, is a bit. No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I had this this, by the way, is bigger. This is not 1 inch wide. The one on the bottom was 1 inch wide because it can only go down 1 inch. This goes down 1.5 inches, so this was wider. And let's see. Yeah, I put 2 of these clamps on. One's down here, but they're both holding it on. And then I was able to pound this in. I put some wood on top and pounded it, and it went in about 1/2 inch. And then I had to remove 1 clamp, and I took it off the shim and put it underneath. So 1 was on here, 1 was underneath, and I could pound it down some more. Finally, I was just basically hitting it with a hammer and screwdriver, and I even tried rounding off a piece of metal, and it went in, but it was still loose. And so this is a bigger diameter than at the bottom of it. The bottom, it only took 36-inch shim to get it in nice top. That's 036. Here, 050 wasn't enough, and I even wound up making a little wedge here, pounding that in. Anyway, that got it tighter. And then I drilled through here, 5/16 tapped, put a screw in. Now I couldn't put a nut in back because there's no way to get the nut up on top. And luckily now everything's nice and tight. It's strange though that you have 3 nuts to hold the base and the bottom in, but only 1 nut up here. I could, if it eventually works loose or something, I could drill 2 more holes here and secure it better, but I think it's nice and tight now, and it should work. It's certainly it doesn't budge. So you saw what it was like at the beginning. Well, after 3 hours of work and running back and forth to the hardware store a few times, I got this Harbor Freight bench grinder stand suitable to put on my roller wheel again. So thanks for watching. I hope it helped.